And then the goal is to bring children quickly ahead in terms of their reading progress. The ultimate goal would be to get them to grade level, and so that's where we work. It's also a great support for our ELL students. Any questions so far? So we got started in October. By the end of October, all the LLI groups were rolling. We identified students who were below grade level readers, and we took that data right from the classroom teachers. We formed groups based on common reading levels. So those 3 kids are reading at basically the same reading level. They meet with the LLI teacher, which are our interventionists, on an average of 5 times every 2 weeks, because it's about every other day. So 1 week it's 3 days a week, the next week it's 2, so that they can service all of the buildings. This data collection that I'm going to share with you is from the end of October until mid-January. And I apologize, I can see it, but I see you. Better?
Oh, thank you.
So once I ran all the numbers, what I found was we currently have 85 students being serviced in the district in the LLI support program. 78% of those students have grown 1 to 2 reading levels. So that was 66 out of 85. 5% of our LLI students, which 4 of these guys, grew 3 reading levels in this time, which is pretty phenomenal because they're meeting half the time that really the program recommends. So, this growth is pretty remarkable because we're meeting half the time so far. So, it's really exciting that we're able to have this kind of impact on 85 students, 85 of our circling teachers. And this was within 7 to 22 sessions. So some of the kids, because they cycle into the program later, or absences, or new to the school, they met with the LLI teacher for a shorter time. That would be your 7, 8 session kids. The kids that have been in the entire time, who have really good attendance, have attended about 22 sessions. So, as you can imagine, we've had more of an impact on the kids who've been in regular attendance with the LLI.
So Mrs. Berkey, the reason why it's only half the time is because it's a grant-funded program, and we were only allowed, or we could only afford 3 people. In an ideal situation, we have 8 interventionists for all 8 schools, but we made the best out of what we could do with 3 individuals and organizing schedules. So they're on an A-B rotation. So they're in one building one day, actually 2 buildings sometimes in one day, and then another 2 buildings the next day, depending on the size of the building. So they're busy and they're hopping, but we had to separate their time. So really they're only doing half of what the program requires. But we've been able to see everybody.
With this being a half program, are you guys impacting this with the parents as well? With getting the parents involved as well? With saying, okay, we got half of a program. You guys need to really work. The parents need to work as much as they can at home with the kids. Are you guys?
There is a take-home component to it.
Okay.
So what happens is there are take-home books that are a little bit different than the books that stay here at school. The books that stay here at school are nice color copies. The ones that go home are black and white copies, just in case we don't get them back. They're a little cheaper to replace. There is a parent communication form that goes home as well. So the parent communication form tells the parent what was covered in that particular lesson, what skill was practiced, and then what can you do at home to support. So the expectation is you, again, read that take-home book with your child, because the child has read it in LLI, so it's not a new read to them, but then they go home and practice it with parents, and then they bring it back the next day. So it does have a parent component built in as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
We have them read to their dog, their doll, their friend, their mother, their brother, anybody that they can read to, we have them read to when they go home.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's some pretty extraordinary documented growth, I have to ask. I mean, so clearly, I'm trying to remember from when we approved this, is it only this year or?
Just this year, the grant was organized before I came here, and it was adopted just in I believe, beginning of August.
Sounds about right, yeah. Very recent.
How long does the grant last?
It's for this year.
It's 1 year.
So what will happen at the end of this year?
Well, we're hoping that the early literacy grant is given again to schools, and if it's not, we'd really like to figure out how we're going to handle this. This is actually part of the coaching model that I've been sharing with you, and we're still crunching numbers and trying to put a package together for principals. And so in this shell, the shell has a coach, a PD sub, and then different individuals that will have job descriptions that are vetted through HR with credentials and a rate of pay that matches the credentials. One of those jobs would be an interventionist. And so we would hope that when the principal, because there has to be buy-in and voice and choice from the principal and the teachers, and so if they decide that that's a need in the building, then they would have an interventionist as part of that comprehensive team that I've been talking about. There are different ways to come at that. It'd be wonderful if we got that grant again, because then we could do something else with the building money, but I know that principals have expressed a desire to have interventionists in their building.
I have one more question to that. We have the high school students that go to the elementary schools and read to the students. Have you guys implemented anything where these high school students go and listen to the kids read instead of them reading to them?
From my understanding, it's a back and forth, but that's even more really to support many things. Outside of this intervention, it's more about support as opposed to intervention. It's about community relationship between the high school and the elementary. It's about role modeling. It's about having that comfort that you're really not reading to your teacher, but you're reading or you're being read to by someone that you look up to that's in the high school. And so there are many merits to that part of it, but it's not necessarily intervention. It's more about support and comfort.
Any other questions? The photos, by the way, are snapshots of our kids. So it's, and I apologize if they're not super clear for you to see, but, you know, it does work, and these are our kids in action right here, so. Another intervention support that has been happening at Myers is a program called Beyond the Basics. And I just wanted to offer you this data as well. Just gives you another snapshot into another intervention program that we've been using with students. So Beyond the Basics is a little bit different. They meet with students on a more regular basis, so 2 to 4 times a week, 1 hour at a time, and it's one-on-one. So it's a student with a Beyond Basics teacher. They collect data every 3 months or so. So the newest data isn't out yet until the beginning of February, but I can share with you the last data that they've given to us, which was in November. They had 57 students were enrolled in the Beyond Basics tutoring program at Myers. 27 students had tested out of the first segment when this data was collected. So they go through several segments in their path of reading progression. 30 students were still in the first segment at that time. So 27 had passed the first segment, 30 were still in that first segment at that time. And I believe Beyond Basics started up in September. Yes?
Quick question on the segment. Is that a reading level? I'm trying to draw a parallel to LLI. What would you, if you're trying to break that segment down and moving beyond segment 1, what would be a comparable I know it's apples and oranges.
I'm not sure how it
Okay.
equates to an LLI reading level. I don't know, Missy,
But
do you
the-
know?
Well, they don't have necessarily, there's a guide sometimes, like, for example, we have DRA scores, which is one of the reading testing that we do in elementary, and you can actually equate a DRA score to what an LLI score is. We don't have that same opportunity with Beyond Basics, but what they do is they work towards getting the student up to grade level
Right.
proficiency. So they have that chunked in different increments.
Right. So a segment 1 would be a starting point, and then if you're moving beyond segment 1, you're in the next tier. Okay.
Would be my guess. So the goals would be scaffolded to get them to their end goal, which would be grade level.
Right.
Reading, so the segment might equate to their first goal that they've met. Students were assessed after segment 1, 27 students tested out. 9 of the students were third graders, 18 of the students were second graders. So twice as many second graders